Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reedy with Future Pastimes. I'm the designer of the Adventures of Conan, and we're going to do a three-player playthrough of the game to show viewers some of the gameplay action, and we're going to do our best to also talk about why we're making the decisions that we're making. Now, I'm joined today by Greg Alaka from Future Pastimes, and playing the game with me will be two of our playtesters, GJ and Jaded. They've been very helpful with the development of the Adventures of Conan and really getting it into shape. They know the game really well. They like it. And they're better at it than I am at this point, so I'm probably not going to fare very well in this playthrough, despite being the designer, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be playing as Conan, and each of the character cards have got a special ability on each side. And at the start of the game, you're going to choose which side, so I'm just going to start with this side, but my ability will actually cause the card to flip, and both abilities do that, so I may flip back and forth. GJ is going to be playing as Tothaman, who is a foe, and JD is going to be playing as Janissa, who is an ally. And each character has a custom set of core dice, which your character card lets you know which dice you're going to start with. And it also lets you know what your character symbol is. So for Conan, it's the battle axe, and he's got that symbol on all of his dice. The foe has the hand symbol on all of their dice, and the ally has a flagon or a tankard symbol on their dice as well. And we're going to be able to get additional dice later on, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we're all set up here for a three-player game. It's 2 to 4. If Greg were playing, he would be a second foe, but we think it'll be quicker and easier if we just do 3P. And it works really well, 3P. So that's the other thing I think that I wanted to showcase here. So we're not going to teach the setup or necessarily teach the game. We'll explain kind of what it is we're doing, and I'll explain some things along the way. The game is played over rounds, and each round has 4 general phases to it, and each phase has a couple of different steps. So the first step of the first phase, which is the resource phase, is to draw an event card. So we have an event deck here. We're going to draw the first card, and it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to have us put a challenge token face down in a kingdom, so Tehran's going to get that. So this is a face-down token. None of us knows what this is. We do have a cheat sheet here that shows you all the different possible effects and how many of each there are in the game. Most of these are bad if you reveal them, and different players can move these tokens. Conan and the ally, if we move into this kingdom, we do have to reveal the token and deal with it. The foe, however, can freely move into kingdoms with challenge tokens. They don't have to. But the converse, if a token is ever moved into a kingdom that you are in, then you do have to reveal it. I guess the other thing our starting cards let us know is where we start. So Conan starts in Samaria. I've got my Conan token here. The foe starts in Stygia, as indicated on the card. And the ally does not have a starting kingdom because the ally doesn't have a token. They are always considered to be wherever Conan is. So Janissa and Conan are currently joined at the hip in Samaria. All right, back to the event card. It's also going to have us put some fate tokens. So a pirate fate token, one in Stygia and one in Shem. So the one in Shem will go here, but the foe is in Stygia, and so if you're in that kingdom, you immediately just get it. So he actually is going to start off with that. The other things we see here on this card is what the bonus will be, and we're going to get to the bonus here. That has to do with the plot roll, which we're going to do in this phase. And it also sets the turn order. So we're going to be going in clockwise direction. So we have this token that lets us know the direction to play, and that is always from Conan. So Conan is always going to go last in this phase and in most of the phases. So clockwise from Conan is the ally. So it'll be Janissa, then Tothaman, then Conan, doing their actions. And again, it's almost every phase. There's only one thing that Conan will go first, and we'll get to that if it happens. So yeah, we are now on to the next step. is to get God tokens, and those are selected in the order of lowest score. We're all starting off the same, so we're just going to go in player order here. So Janissa is going to choose first, and these God tokens all have unique effects. It's a one-shot effect, so when you use it, the token will return to the supply, and people can select it again in the following round. And if you don't use it, you actually get to keep it, and you could choose another one in the following round as long as you don't already have 3. So Janissa, what is going to be the God token that you choose? We've set up here with it's 2 per player in the game. So these are the 6 that we ended up with.
Set.
Yeah,
I will take set.
So yeah, the set is a really good
always
one.
Good to have.
Yeah, it lets you change any die to any one of your dice to any result, even one that die doesn't normally have. So that's a pretty good one. And so Tothamon is next. What is it going to be?
I think Zoth.
Yeah, Zoth that's pretty good. That lets you double the points you get on an adventure. I think I'm going to go with Mitra, and Mitra lets me re-roll all the dice that I just rolled. So that might come in handy later. The next step is to buy additional dice. So we have these extra dice that you can get at the start of each round. You only have them for the rounds. At the end of the round, they'll go back. And you're spending gold, but the cost is different per character. So Conan's dice cost 3 gold each. They're the most expensive, but that's because Conan has a choice. So he can get either of his core dice, his primary or the general dice if he wants. And as you can see, the primary one's got like a double warrior on there. That's the only die that has that. And warrior is a symbol that you're going to be rolling a lot or wanting to roll a lot. The allies' dice cost 2 gold each. But the foes, it's the first one is 1 gold, the second is 2, and it's 3 thereafter. And we all start with 1 gold. So Tothamon's the only one who can afford an extra die. Although Janissa does. It depends on which side of your character. So you're starting off with that. So you're actually up first. For 1 gold, Janissa can buy a faux die. So she dabbles in the dark side a little bit. So you're going to do that. Tothamon, you could afford a die. Yep. And so everyone's starting with more dice than Conan. So I'm not happy about that. But that's fine. Conan's tough. I don't need your extra dice. Crom laughs at your 4 dice. That's actually my 4 dice. All right, then the last step is the plot roll. So we have a plot track up here with a number of spaces. We've got a couple of the spaces are blocked as indicated by the plot card. And there are 5 chapters, and they're numbered there. And that number is also on a victory point symbol. So actually, each time you move up on the plot track, you will get victory points equal to its number. So we're doing the test of skill here. And the symbols that you need to roll are the ones in the circle. So it's a move and a warrior. This highlighted symbol here in the diamond is for the bonus, which is on the event. So if you don't have to get the bonus to move up on the plot track, but if you do get all of the symbols, you will collect the bonus in addition to whatever rewards are here, which is by character. So you can see Conan, the ally, the foe. So we're all getting different things, at least on chapter 1. And so we're going in player order. So Janissa is up first. And this is kind of a Yahtzee style thing where you could potentially get up to 3 rolls. But what you don't want to roll are your character symbols because those count as strikes, and 3 strikes is a failure. So first roll, let's see how Janissa does. Our first roll of the game. Oh boy. So, okay.
That's not bad.
That's pretty much, it's not everything that you need.
Almost.
So the star is a wild. And that can count as anything. And in fact, for the plot, you don't have to decide what it is just yet. You've got 3 of the thief symbols, which is the bonus. So are you going to set one of those aside as a success?
Yeah. I think I'm going to use this one since these white dice are probably better for getting that movement or warrior.
So there are no characters here, so he can roll them. And in fact, if he does roll again, he has to roll all of those dice. So roll again. Roll number 2. All right, and you did get another wild. So that is enough to not only move up on the track. So we're going to move the ally up, and that's 1 point on the victory thing. They get the bonus as well. But first thing is first is your reward here is score 2 more victory points. So that's going to move you up to 3, which gets you a gold. So there's perks on the scoring track which we'll get to. We'll explain those as you get there. And then, of course, you also got the bonus. And the bonus here is to get a move fate token and a roll the local kingdom die. So these fate tokens, these are really good to get because they let you change the dice that you rolled into the symbol on the token. So if that's what you really needed, you spend that to do that. And the local kingdom dice are these D8. So each kingdom has a different type. We are currently in a savage kingdom, which are the red ones. And so there's a red savage die. So Janissa gets to roll that. But got nothing. So yeah, the red die has 2 blanks. It's the one that's least likely to give you anything. All right, that's it for the ally. So it's now over to Tathaman. 5 dice again. Here having more dice is maybe not great because as we can see here, we've got three characters. So as you can see, this one is a split one. So these two are split. They've got a sorcery and a character. If sorcery was one of the symbols that you needed, which is not going to be until Chapter 5. So if you could use a sorcery, you could set this aside, set this one of them aside as a success. But unfortunately, you have 3. You have to count this as a character. So that's it for the foe. 1 roll, and they're done. So let's see if Conan can join the ally on the first base of Chapter 1. Last time we played this, all I could roll were characters. And so, all right. Well, all right. Yeah. So this is it's a split, but a warrior is one that I do need. This is one that I can't roll again. So I could save this one to, in fact, maybe I will. So I'm going to set that as a success. What I need to roll now is a move, and I get 2 more chances. And yeah, something interesting might happen here. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it here. All right, so that was roll number 2. And roll number 3, I got my last chance. I got to try to roll a move. So what I could do is I can still roll this die, even though it's a success, because I might want to roll it to just increase the chances of getting a move. So this one, if we look here on the back of my little player aid here, I have a wild. There's no moves on that die. So it's a 1 in 6 chance of getting it, but it's also a 1 in 6 chance on this die too. So what do I risk both of them, or do I think, 1 in 6 on just the 1 die? There's not going to be any penalty. I'm going to roll both dice because if I get a wild or a move, then at least I get to move up on the plot track and get something.
And you've got a chance at hitting the bonus too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If I roll both things that I need. There you go. I got the move. So this is This is a fail, but it's only 2 strikes. So I did get what I needed. I should have just rolled that die because that's the one that got it. But that's fine. So I'm getting a point. I got at least I'm on the track, and I get to advance on my lowest achievement. So one of the things we have here on the board is called the achievement track, and it's actually 3 tracks. We have a thief, pirate, and warrior track, and these also provide you perks as you move up. And if you get halfway here, you're going to unlock a free die at the start of each round. So that's pretty good. And for each of your tokens that gets halfway up here, you're going to get 5 victory points at the end of the game. And if you get all the way to King Conan, those tokens will get you 8 victory points instead. So it's advance on my lowest achievement. And so they're all lowest, so I get to pick whichever one. So I'm going to go up on Thief, because that's going to get me a gold. My dice cost 3 gold, so I got to start saving up. And there you go. I've got 2 gold, and that's it. So we're done with the plot phase. We move on to the second phase. And yes, we are marking the kingdom. So we've got, I guess we'll point out a couple of things. So we've got 3 kingdoms, 3 adventure cards up. And in this main phase, this is one of the things Conan, and to some degree the ally, we're trying to get Conan to one of these 3 kingdoms. So we've got Tehran has an adventure. It also has this challenge token we don't know about. Koran has one. And also Aquilonia, which is right next door. So that looks pretty good. We can look here. This one, the Devil in Iron, it's 3 points per die for that one. It's 1 point per die for the When Death Takes Wing, and 2 points for Blood Oasis. So that will come into play if we do one of these adventures, and we'll talk about why. But for the next phase, we're all going to take our dice, and we get to all roll them simultaneously, and keep them on the left side of the card where it says active dice, because these are your active dice. And we're going to be spending dice one at a time in player order, doing actions. And we have a cheat sheet here with all the symbols that could be rolled. and the different actions. And as you can see, a lot of them you've got a choice about what you can do. But this is not identical for each player. So if we look over here at Tothaman, he doesn't have quite as many choices. And that's because Conan and the ally, they can spend thief, pirate, and warrior results if they're in a kingdom with that attribute in order to move up on the achievement track, which is not something that the foe can do, not in the main phase. They have other ways that they might be able to do that, and I'm sure we're going to see that later on. But yeah, there's a number of different things that we can do. So it starts in player order. Again, it's going to be Janissa, Tothaman, Conan. So Janissa, you're up first. You've rolled a lot of, a couple of thieves, a move, sorcery, and you have a split one with your character.
Yeah, well, if I know anything about how GJ like to play, I'm going to want to put on the before advance too.
Yeah, so we're putting and we're gonna. Normally we have some markers too, because this is a foe die, but it is actually an ally die in this case. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a copy of this token here, because I didn't bring the markers in. But there are markers that help you to differentiate when people are using the same dice, which is usually when there's only happens when there's two foes. But Janissa is a special case. So this encounter track connects to these encounter cards. And in order for Conan to be forced to fight the carrion men or the zombie warriors or the winged horror, the encounters need to be unlocked. And that is done by placing dice on the encounter track as an action. The number of dice it takes is the number of players. So it will take 3 dice to do this, but there are 4 spaces, and even in a 3-player game, you can put them on all 4. So if we unlock encounters, I'll explain what happens there and how that works. We're just going to go over to Tothaman, who has rolled 3 wilds, and a move, and then a split one with a sorcery and a...
I was just making an observation here. I mean, right now, I'm looking at the 3 adventure kingdoms. I believe all 3 of those kingdoms, Conan would have to face all 3 encounters. Am I...
well, it just
correct?
depends. So...
currently on this would not apply here, and this would not apply here.
Tehran, I would have to fight the carrion men. The zombie warriors are anywhere, and in Tehran or Koran, I would have to fight the winged horror. But these might get cycled out. So let's see what.
Oh yeah, they will. I
can
can guarantee you they will.
All right, so he's put a wild up here on the warrior space. So and Tothaman has an ability, at least on this side of the card, that whenever you place a die on the encounter track, you may cycle 1 encounter card. So cycle means you're going to discard one of the face-up ones and then draw 2 off the top of the deck, choosing 1 to put into play. And I guess I know which one he's going to pick. It's the giant spider, which is in any kingdom. So the giant spiders are everywhere, and so are zombie warriors. All right, well, that was not great. So... and looking at what else, you could put that move up there, and of course you got those 2 wilds. So the more foe dice that are on the encounter track, the worse it is for Conan. So even though I don't necessarily want to face these things, I might put dice up here just to prevent him from putting dice up there, and that's going to matter. That's going to matter when we get to those encounters. So let's see. Well, let's see what else I can do. That's interesting. All right. So I think that it would probably be useful. You know what I'm going to do?
I would guess you'd lock in a warrior on the encounter track for yourself, because that's going to help you in all the encounters.
Well, it's not going to help me with this giant spider. It'll help me a little bit. I still have to roll a double warrior, which is not ideal. But yeah, you make a compelling case, Greg. So I'm going to put that up there. And using the orange die is going to be important as well, which, again, I'll explain when we get to the encounters. I'll explain why it was important to use this die with that symbol. All right, it's over. Back to Janissa.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and set this on the encounter track.
Oh, they're just...
Keep that loading you at bay.
That's pretty good. So the encounters they're unlocked, and at the end of the main phase, we will get to that. So we can ignore that a little bit for now.
I would say just explain real quick the number when you're 3-player game. You have to 3 dice unlocks.
Yeah. Oh, I said that. So it's a number of players. So all right, we are doing.
I'm doing some good old sorcery.
So the sorcery here, there's 2 options for the sorcery. One is to get a challenge token. It does cycle encounter. but he has chosen to get. So you're going to gain a challenge token, and he starts the game with one. He's going to place one. Everyone starts with one except Conan. So that's going into Shem. So as I mentioned, most of these are bad if you reveal them. By the virtue of the fact that he placed it right next door to where he is, this is probably something good. Maybe like get gold or victory points or Temple of Set, God knows what. All right, so it's back to Conan. So Conan is going to spend a thief. Now, normally to spend a thief, I could steal a gold, one from the supply, and I could advance on the thief track if I were in a kingdom with the thief attributes. All the kingdoms have the name, the type. They have a special ability that can be triggered in the main phase, and then they have attributes. And so here's an example. Zingara has the thief attribute. Samaria doesn't. It's got a warrior. It's got Snowflake too, which is not a symbol that we can roll, but it does relate to some of the encounters. None currently. But Conan has a special ability. I can spend a fate token or an active die to advance on an achievement in a kingdom without the matching attribute. So I'm going to spend that, and then I flip this card, so I'll be on the other ability. And that lets me advance on the thief. So normally I wouldn't be able to do that here, but that's my ability. So now my new ability is if I get a fate token, I can use any fate token as a warrior symbol, and then I would flip the card again. So that was my action, and now I'm just 2 spaces away from getting that free die. And to Janissa.
That's the carrot.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to use a move, and I'm going to get us moving towards an adventure, but probably not the one that Conan wants. I'm going to go up here so that next time it's my turn, I can use a boat to get us all the way over to Tehran, which is going to give us 3 dice for each die that Conan uses. So
yeah,
I don't
love that, but yeah, all right. You win. All right,
yeah, I figured.
Back to Tothaman. So spending a move.
Tothaman is spending a move to move in.
Conan's like, my horse just went north.
Yep.
What's up with this?
So he gains that fate token just by moving in, and he has revealed a Temple of Set. So what does the Temple of Set do? So if Conan or an ally, they would lose a fate token if they enter it, but the foe gains 2 victory points, and the token remains in play. So we can, both Janissa and Conan can, if we go to Shem, we can try to destroy this Temple of Set to get it off the board, but yeah, that's not convenient, that's for sure. All right, so Conan is going to spend this wild as a warrior. So we are in the warrior kingdom. I can advance on the warrior track, and that lets me roll the local die. So I'm going to take my chances in here and see if I can get something good with the savage die. And I did. So I get a warrior fate token, which is very good. And that was my go. Back to Janissa. 2 actions left. Everyone else has 2 actions left. Just 1 for me.
I'm going to use this as character, and I'm going to deploy it to a pirate, and I'm going to sail us off to Tehran.
All right. So that means
unfortunately, during this horrible token.
This reveals, and because the ally is the one who moved Conan, the ally has to deal with whatever this is, and it is a fight. Ooh, so it's a fight.
Well, that's not good.
So let's look at what the fight token does. And there's a bunch of these. So if we look at the cheat sheet, there's 7 of them on here. So he would have to.
Did you scry that before you went in? It was just.
I didn't scry it.
Now,
I should have though.
So in order to defeat this, whoever reveals it needs to form a warrior pool, and you do that by looking at your active dice. And how many of those active dice have warrior symbol? None for you. But you do have set, so that's not terrible. Or your character, or a wild. And let me just back this up. So you used your character. You did what's called a deploy action. So this little line down here from the character symbol with the arrows means that the character is almost like a wild. It lets you use it for a lot of these symbols. As you can see, it doesn't point to sorcery. So the ally can't use their character to do any sorcery actions, but it lets you deploy to do most of these. Anything with the black number here, the 2 advance on a thief and a pirate and a warrior, you have to roll the legit symbol, not the character. But you could use it as a thief to steal gold. Or in this case, he used it to move from a kingdom with the pirate attribute to another one. So if we look, there's a pirate attribute in Nordheim, which is where we were, and there's one there in Tehran. So we were able to do it. It wasn't, it's a long sail to get to Tehran from Nordheim, but it can be done more or less. There's a little bit of overland here over by the Viliet Sea, but that's what he used that for. You can also use it to advance on the plot track, but you have to spend a number of dice equal to the chapter number of the space you're moving on to. So you have to form a warrior pool, and then you would roll that pool to try to defeat this fight, and you have to get 3 warrior results, or wilds, but not characters. And then if you do, you'll get 3 points, but if you don't, you're going to be wounded. And of course, you can't form a pool with this unless you use your set token. Will you be doing that
Not
now?
happening.
No. So that means that you take a wound, which means you set an active die aside for the rest of the round. So that one is out. And this token goes away. And even with 1 die, Janissa potentially could have defeated that fight. So you may be wondering, it would have been nice to see the fight in action. So, maybe I should have moved in there, but oh well. Because if you roll the die and you get the warrior result, you get to roll the die again. So you could roll it enough times to get the number of results that you need. But each time you roll your warrior pool, any non-successes become spent dice. They get set aside. So sometimes you want to use more than 1 die if you're trying to get three hits. All right, it's Tatothamon. 2 actions left, and they're wild, so he can do anything he wants with these actions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get on the plot track, just as an idea.
I'm considering, there's 2 ideas that I have in mind. One is the classic move I like to do, just moving outside the Temple of Set, moving back in.
Yeah.
To get another 2 points. The other is just stay in Stygia, since I have these pirate tokens that will come in useful later. Or just be very mean and move a challenge token into you. But I think you have enough things going on.
So many options. Now, I will point out that if you do move up on the plot track outside of the resource phase, you get the points for the chapter, but you don't get any of these other rewards. That's only for rolling successful. So
I think I'm going to do some sorcery for now.
Get some skulls on the board.
Right. So, and he's got the 2, so you can. Oh, so that could be another Temple of Set or gold. Yeah. All right. It's on to me, and actually, I am going to use this to move up on the plot track. So I just get a point.
Nice.
And I thought I was. Oh, I guess I was only to there. So all right, I'm at 2 points. So, and then it's the last action, and I'm going to move in there, and all right, we're gonna have to go down there and deal with that because that is not good. That's just going to be points and points and points. So we have to destroy the Temple of Set. Maybe we'll duel Tathamon. So that'll be interesting to see. All right, so that is all of the dice spent. So we go on to the 3rd phase, which is called triggered phases. And there are 2 things that can be triggered by the main phase. One is encounters and one is adventures. So for encounters, the first question we ask is, were there at least 3 dice for a 3-player game? And the answer is yes. The next thing we do is we're going to look at these encounters and we're going to see how many of them apply to Conan's location. So that is going to be the top right-hand corner. So any means yes, and another yes. And then this one has the thief attribute, which Zamora has. So Conan is going to have to face all 3 of these encounters in order from left to right, which is not great. If I do defeat him, I get whatever the reward is. So if I beat this giant spider, I'll get to advance on thief. I'll get 2 points for beating the zombie warriors, and I'll get 3 points, and I'll roll the local kingdom die for a winged horror. And I'll point out that Tehran is both a savage kingdom and a port kingdom, so I would roll both dice. So I'd love to do that, but the odds of me doing that are not good, because if I don't defeat it, there are penalties. I would not immediately suffer the penalty, but what happens is any progress that I roll is applied to this encounter, and then the next player in order will go and see if they can finish it. And if anybody completes the encounter, then everybody who failed it will suffer the penalties. And it's a wound for this one, a wound and lose a fate token, and the same there. I only have the 1 fate token, which I don't want to lose, but we'll see how it goes. So I have to roll some dice, but there are a couple of little things. So for each faux die, and this is why how many dice the foe puts up here is important. Each faux die on the encounter track, and this one does not account, Conan has to set aside a die that he's not allowed to roll. So I'm going to set aside this die. It's not a wound because I'll get that back for the adventures if I don't get killed. Or no, well, not killed. If I don't get messed up by these bad guys. So I have, I'm a little bit handicapped by that. But that is hopefully offset by the fact that every die that I have on the encounter track when I make this roll that matches a success that I need, it's an automatic success, and I don't have to roll it. And this is heightened by the fact that you'll notice we have circles and we have these highlighted orange diamonds. For Conan's roll, these results have to be on my orange dice. So if I roll that symbol with this die, and I'm going to put that right there. That's my set aside one. If I roll it with this die, it doesn't do anything. And I do need to roll. I got to get a double warrior, and then there's a thief. So it's possible because I do have the double warrior here. I've got the automatic success on this one from the encounter track. So I just need to roll that symbol and this symbol, which is, the odds are not great. So we'll see. I got Mitra, so I can roll those dice again one time. So let's see. We'll see how it goes. Even if I don't get it, there's no guarantee that the others will. So let's see. I didn't get anything that I needed. And it's a matter of, do I want to use Mitra? I don't know. I don't know if I do.
Because you are getting a gold with advance.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Thanks for that bit of wisdom. All right. Oh, you know what? We're here to demonstrate stuff, so I'm going to do that. Now, we should point out that these gold that we set aside here are going on these god tokens, which anybody who claims those god tokens in a subsequent round or whatever will get the gold, or they can take Mitra and not get any gold. So, all right, I get to roll both of the dice. It's re-roll all dice you just rolled. So I'm rolling these, hoping I get a double warrior on my orange die and a thief or a wild on my light die. Let's see what I got. I got a thief. Which
you got a thief.
Yeah, that is not great. That is not great. And here's the reason why. I'm basically helping the other guys to wound me. So I do have to put that on there. That is it for me. It now goes to the next player. So we look and see, does Janissa have any dice on here that can help out? And you do not. You've got the thief, but you don't need the thief. So you can safely take your thief off if you want, because you don't need a thief for any of these others.
That is true.
So
Why not?
an extra die.
Playing your wilds.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've gotten thief for moving us into Tehran because
that's true. That's true. So that we should point that out.
Pirate.
Whenever in order to try to foster some level of cooperation between Conan and an ally, there's a little bit of a carrot and a stick approach. The carrot is if the ally moves Conan into an adventure kingdom, and that's what these tokens are. They're just marking the adventures on the map for us. The ally gets a local fate token. That is a fate token that matches one of the attributes. So he's got the fate token. And if an ally moves Conan out of an adventure kingdom, Conan gets a fate token for whichever kingdom he's moved into. So that's the stick part. Hopefully it's enough to do that. So, again, not that you need that, but so yes, you're ready to roll, right? You need to get, you need to get 3 warriors, because this automatic success is only for me. So currently the only success we have on this giant spider is the thief. So there's 1, 2, 3 warriors. Nobody else has to roll a double warrior, but they still need 2 warriors. So let's see how we do. Well, you got 1 warrior.
One.
So, and it,
Would you set?
yeah, but that wouldn't, oh, you know what though? That would do
I
it.
can set and use my thief fate. And that actually, no, I don't even need a thief. I could just use the set.
So,
Do you
You
want
know
to?
what? Why not?
so yeah, so set lets him change one of his dice to any symbol, even one that his die doesn't have, and he can set it to that double warrior. So he's got the double warrior, he's got the other warrior. That means that he was successful there, and he gets the reward, which is advance on thief. And I'm wounded, so I'm going to set another die aside. Let me see, what adventure are we doing here? Tehran?
Yeah.
Oh, there is an assortment of things, but pirate and thief. So I'm actually going to hold on to this. I'm going to set aside that die right there. So that one is my wound. That's my second wound, and I'm going to be out of luck here on the rest of these. So it's now we move on to the next one. I have to fight the zombie warriors. I've got the automatic success, but I have to set aside a die still. I have to set aside a die because there's a foe die up there. So I actually have nothing to roll. So it moves to the next player. You need 3 warriors, and you have none on the track. You could take that one off. You could take that one off as well.
And
There is some sorcery.
There is sorcery later on.
Yeah,
so
the winged horror. Oof.
all right. So you got 3 dice.
There goes
You need
nothing.
3 warriors. You got none.
Now
And
it's
that's
nothing.
something.
All right. Now it goes
0.
to the foe. So Tathamon has 1 warrior because he's got the wild up there. So he just needs to roll 2 more warriors. And he got 1.
1 warrior.
But
Yeah, that's it.
that's
I don't
it.
have anything.
So nobody did it, which means that nobody suffers any penalties. So hooray for me. And now it's on to this one. Again, I still don't have any dice to roll. So this one's a little bit tougher. So I'm hoping that I won't have to lose anything. But yes, it's 3 dice for you. You do have the automatic sorcery. And so these are split. So either it's a sorcery or a warrior. So you're going to need 2 warriors plus either another warrior or a scry.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, good luck with that roll.
I got
Yeah, nothing. So then
nothing
it's
of
off.
value.
So
Do I have to commit my sorcery even though it was already covered
Oh,
by my automatic success?
no, because you were covered, so you don't have to commit that. So
Nice.
once again, Tathamon has 1 warrior. They need the other 3 results,
Oh my.
and that is going to probably
It's
do
everything.
it because it's a
That's
sorcery.
3 warriors
so,
here.
yes.
Plus the
Jeez.
1 up there.
So that means that both Conan and the ally are wounded and lose a fate token. So I lost my warrior, which does not make me happy, and I'm wounded again. So I'm going to use that die right there.
I gain 3 points,
Yep.
which gives me a local fate token, and this time I'm actually taking a sorcery. And the roll of the kingdom die.
Yes,
Because I advance up there, which gives me a thief.
all right,
And
so
then
that
I
was-
also gain another roll, because the encounter gives me another roll.
Yeah, so
Another
some of
sorcery.
that was he landed on the roll the local die on the track,
Yep.
and there was another one on the card. So I got to roll the Eldritch die twice. All right, that brings us to the other triggered phase, which is adventures. So the question you ask here, is Conan in a kingdom with an adventure? And the answer is yes. So we are going to do this adventure. If Conan does not get to a kingdom with an adventure, all foes in the game move up on the plot track. They'll get points. They won't get any other rewards. But this is one of the ways that normally the foe can be moving down that plot track. If you get to chapter 3 on the plot track, that also unlocks a free die at the start of each round. So there's ways to get 2 free dice at the start of each round through different progress. So here's how the adventure works. We've got the Devil in Iron, so we're going to bring that over here. That's the adventure. These are the symbols that we need to complete this adventure. And what's going to happen is, Janissa's wounded as well, down 2 dice. So Janissa's going to roll 3 dice. They're all of their available dice because everything comes off the encounter track. And after we see which results are successful, I, as the Conan player, will choose any or all or none of those dice to apply to the adventure, keeping in mind that I will be giving that player 3 points per die if I complete it. So I don't love that, but I only have 1 die, so I'm only going to at best be able to get 3 points, but I might want it just so I can get the card. So let's go. We're going to roll for Janissa and see how many successes you got. All right, so a thief,
That's 1.
which is 1. So I'm going to apply it. So, and we're looking at the scoring track right now. The foe is way out ahead, so I don't love the idea of giving the foe a lot of points, especially because he's got the Zath token, and Zath doubles the points you score for dice on an adventure. So this is a very sticky situation. Let's see what he rolls first, though, and he's got a bunch of. All right. So we got a wild
And a sorcery.
and a sorcery, and he has
And a
a
warrior.
pirate fate token,
Yep.
which he could spend now, but he doesn't
Well, I
have
can
to.
wait.
Yeah,
I
because
can
this
wait.
is really I don't like that. So
It's-
yeah, I'm using your warrior. I'm using this as the kingdom. Using this as the sorcery.
Also
Just as
remember,
a-
you're
a-
only
a
wounded
question
twice.
at
Just so you know.
that point, if he had used that pirate fate token,
Yeah, I only have
for
1 die.
dice,
So
Oh, you have 2 dice. You are only wounded. Oh no, actually, you wounded 3 times. True.
Yep.
Yeah. Was I wounded 3 times?
No, actually 2.
No, I
The
think one of them
first
was
one,
just set aside because of
yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
one was set
that's right.
token.
aside
Set
from that
aside.
one.
So
So
I
you
do
have 2
have.
dice you can roll.
I got 2 dice I can roll, and well, what I need though is
Pirates.
yeah. But I think for my wounds, yeah, I don't remember which one I set aside. I think
You set aside this one originally,
yeah.
so you can have 2 of your secondary dice if you want.
Yeah, might as well. All right, so that's where I am, which is good because I need to roll a pirate. But the problem I'm facing here is if I do not roll a pirate, what we do is we go again in turn order and we look at which dice were not chosen that could have been. Now, in the case of Janissa, it's a character and a thief, so neither one of those applies. And if we look over here, well, none of these applied, but Tothamon has a pirate fate token, which at that point he can use. And what's going to happen is if I, as Conan, don't place that last die, if I don't choose it, if someone else does, they get the card. And if that someone is the foe, only the foe's dice are going to score points. So Janissa here would not get their 3 points. So Janissa wants me to get this roll.
It
Fingers
is a
crossed.
roll, right? He could just put the pirate fate token on and say, I win. I claim it, right?
Oh, yeah. I expect he
Oh, I
will.
will.
So if I don't roll a wild or a pirate here, then Conan and the ally are going to be empty-handed, and the foe is going to score 3, 6, 9, 12, 24 points. So this is a ludicrous... Come on. Yeah! All right, so Conan, yeah, and I was like, oh, Conan rolled what he needed. So we're going to score. First thing we do is we score the points, and it is in player order. So starting with Janissa, you get 3 points up on the track, which is going to get you a local fate token. 1, 2, 3.
I'll make that a thief.
And next it is the foes. 3, 6, 9. Will you be using Zath? You will.
I will. I'm
3, 6,
getting
9.
18.
That's still a pretty good roll.
That's great. So the foe can definitely, yeah, that you can see the power of the encounters because the fact that I was wounded twice. I really had to rely on other people's dice in order to complete this adventure. Now I'm going to get 3 points, so it's not terrible. So that puts me up here. I'm also going to get a thing, and I'm going to take. There are no. There's one. There's one thief token left. I'm taking it. Everyone else gets their dice back as we move into the final phase. Sorry about that. Which is the end of round phase. So it's just kind of a cleanup and whatever. The first thing that happens at the end of the round phase is if you've got extra dice for the round, they go back to the supply. The next thing that we do is we say, hey, who has an adventure card and is in the matching kingdom? Well, I have an adventure card, and I just did it in this kingdom. So the Devil in Iron, you get the rewards on that card. So here I get to advance on any 2 achievements, and I score 1 victory point. So I'm going to advance on Thief, which will get me a gold. And I'm going to advance on Warrior, and then I get a victory point, right? Is that what it said? 1 victory point. So, hey, I'm not losing. Although the thing is that Jaded, Janissa's going to get first pick of the God tokens because of that.
In second place.
So, and then
the
last thing that happens is we do this in player order as well. Is we ask, are you in a kingdom that has an attribute that matches the achievement track? And we all do. So you're in one with pirate, and we're in one with pirate and thief. And do you also have fate tokens? Because you can spend those to move up on the track. You can spend 1 to move up once, or if you have 2 or more, you can spend all of them to move up twice. So it's Janissa. You do have 2 thief fate tokens. It looks like you're going to be spending them both to move up twice on the thief track. So you do that, and you're going to get a gold out of that. And then we go over to Tothamon. You're spending all of them. Yeah, and you're going to move up twice, and that will get you a trade token. But I also have a thief token, so I get to move up once, and that is good for me because I'm going to get 5 points. I don't score that immediately. That's end game victory points, but I will get a free die, and I have enough gold here to get another die. So I will have a better second round, hopefully. And maybe be able to score a lot more points. So we are, for right now, the ally and Conan are incentivized to work together to prevent the foe from really getting any more points at least until we're able to catch up. So that's the end of that round. We're going to go do another round. So we're going to flip once again. It's back to this. So we have some lawlessness here. It's going to be another challenge token. It'll be in Quran, which is, of course, another adventure kingdom already. And there's going to be thief tokens in Koth and Shem. It's a good thing that we replenished because there's only the 4. So Koth is here, and Shem, that goes right here. So, yeah, we've got to go down there.
Oh, yeah, the new Adventures in Zingara, which is another pull.
So, yes, so there's always going to be 3 adventures here, and we have 3 new horrible things, soldiers, the tentacled one, and revenants, if those get unlocked. The bonus this time, if somebody gets it, is going to be a gold in advance on thief, and the play order is switched. So it's now going to be the foe going first, followed by Janissa, and then Conan. And so
you guys have to worry about the foe just ricocheting back and forth.
Yeah. If he rolls a lot of moves, he's going to definitely be doing that. So we might want to go down there just to destroy one of those things. And I'm going to have a lot of dice, so I'm happy to go beat up on Tothamon, and maybe we'll have a duel. So it's going to be God tokens next. So it's going to start with the ally. You get first choice. So we saw the power of Zath. We also saw Set. We saw Mitra not be very effective. So, or did we? I rolled a.
You did,
no, it was not effective.
Thief.
It helped me get wounded. So, but that's that's how the gods work in Conan stories. In fact, a lot of Conan fans are like, the gods just don't even exist. The only real gods are the Lovecraftian gods. So. But yeah, if the characters want to think that they managed to do something through the help of divine intervention, that's fine for them. So what's it going to be, Janissa?
I think I'm going to Ashura.
All right.
Hopefully can cycle some of those nasty.
So that's what that one. It lets you cycle once. So if we see something bad. All right, I'm up next. I'm really tempted to use Zath. In fact, I have to take it just so that the foe doesn't.
I mean,
sure
it's 1 pointers. It's 2 1 pointers.
Well,
1 to coin.
I am in Tehran, which you can spend a gold to cycle to, so I could cycle some of these out. Conan also uniquely has the ability to cycle with a trade action. Nobody else can cycle adventures with a trade action, so it gives Conan a little bit of an edge to maybe find something closer or worth more points. So the foe. Picking up Emir.
I'm tired of getting on the plot track.
Yeah. Count one of your characters as a warrior. All right. Now it's get dice. So the foe is up first. Are you going to get 2 dice?
3 gold for 2 dice.
Okay. Then it's the ally. You've got some gold there.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend an ally die and a foe die again with ability. Yeah. Love those foe dice. They got 2 wilds on them.
Bargain.
I get 1 die for free, and I'm going to take one of these, and I am going to spend 3 gold here although I'm tempted to. Well, no, I better do it. The other thing that you can spend gold on is during the main phase when you're in a kingdom, and it's a free action because you're not spending a die. You can spend a gold to roll local die. You can only do that once per kingdom, but if I were here and I could spend a gold in Tehran and I would roll the 2 dice, then I could spend a die to move into Zamora and then spend a gold to roll the treachery die. But I'm going to spend my gold to get under the die. Now I'm trying to decide what I want, and I'm looking at here. What do I need to roll a lot of warriors. If we go to Zingara, which is not impossible, the other die would be handy, but I'm worried about fights and stuff like that, and I might be dueling the foe. So if we move Conan into, if the characters are ever in the same kingdom, they move it into the same kingdom, they're going to duel, which is like a fight, but it's both players rolling. So that's what I did, and it's now time to roll on the plot track. So the foe's still trying to get on there. You need to move in a warrior.
These dice, this will be interesting.
I know. More characters. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 2 characters, but you do have what you need to move up. Will you be satisfied with no bonus?
Because you got I think I will. Yeah, I don't need the gold. I'm just playing it safe.
So that's a point. You're already on there. That's a local kingdom die. It's the Eldritch die again. You get a lot of fame. Ooh, that was good for us. Then you also gain a challenge token. So he's got another one to play with. And then it's over to the ally. So ally also a lot of dice, 6 dice. We all have 6 dice, so that's That's crazy. Yikes! I gotta
Lack
Wow.
of
Gotta
gotta get
character
some
would be
points.
good.
I gotta get some points in this round. All right, so we have one character.
3 characters.
Three
Oh.
characters. There
Oh
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. So that's a big kabloof.
Yeah,
That's it for
Wait,
you.
that's
no,
a
you
jaded
can't.
roll.
Got nothing.
Conan,
No,
however, is rolling on to chapter 2. So I'm already on the second space of 1. I'm trying to get here, so I need to roll 2 moves and a warrior for the bonus. So let's see how Conan does here. I've got
Four
moves.
characters calling it. 1, 2, 3 characters.
Well, let's see. Zath is not going to help me, and
Yikes.
there's nothing I can
No.
do. Otherwise, I had a move and a wild. So, but yeah, that's more dice bites you on the plot phase.
Yeah.
So it's now back to the main phase. We're rolling.
And that really is the only time that more dice is bad, is in the plot phase.
Yeah,
right?
pretty
You
much.
have
Pretty
to
much.
use it the rest
All
of the
right,
game.
so I've got a lot of. In fact, everything here could be put into a warrior pool. So if we want to fight the,
Whoa!
if I want to
That's brutal.
fight this guy, so you're up first, GJ. What's it
yeah.
gonna be?
Yes. It's going to be a move.
Oh, moving, huh?
Of course it is.
All
And
right.
more points.
It's points.
Also because this is not a port, so you cannot get to
Now
here
that's
in
true.
one single move.
We would need to chase after you. All right. Well,
Yep.
if you can get us to Stygia, Janissa, I will fight this Temple of Set and at least try to destroy that.
Well, if I move, oh yeah, you have to. It's an action to fight it, a unique one,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Oh.
I can't believe you got two of them side by side.
Well, I think first of all, I'm gonna spend a gold to roll the local kingdom die, which is gonna be
Both.
Savage and Port.
And he
Yeah.
gets to roll both of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
All right.
Too good of an
I'm
opportunity to
moving a
pass up on.
trade. Yeah. Which is good because you're going to lose a token when you move us into Stygia. So.
Are you going to move us into Stygia? That's the other thing. You don't
I
have
think
to.
First, it's just a slight detour, First, I'm gonna move up on Thief. Because there's no
There's no
thief
rush.
in Stygia, so I mean, may as well do it while I can.
Right,
And
Inter
because
is in
Conan has no
Zingara,
pay
though,
tokens, you have nothing to lose there by him moving you in. If you were to go to Temple of Set.
Yeah, I got that too.
So that it would
All
only
right, fine. I will move us to Stygia.
Ah.
So
Oh.
they're here. I don't have a token to lose, so I took one for the team. All right, back to Tothaman.
But you had nothing
Are
to
you
lose, though, so it made a lot of sense for you to do the move rather than the ally, right?
Gonna...
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
Shut up, Greg. No one's asking you.
Well, I'm just pointing out,
All right, what is this slippery villain doing? You gonna run away? Because I'm of a
Try.
mind
I'm
to go first.
considering.
Look at all those warriors, yeah.
I'm considering. Especially since, well, I also have like 4 dice that I can use as like to form a fight pool. Would not be an even fight since these are pretty terrible, but you know.
You do have a mirror, so that could help
I
you
do
out
have a mirror, that is
one
true.
time.
For now, I think I'm just going to. Tough choice. Really tough choice.
Well, and having players have to
fine.
make excruciating decisions is my number one design principle as a designer. So I do like that you've got a couple of things that you could do and stuff that looks good, but what's it going to be?
Well, it's good that he's excruciating. He's got 28 points. It better be.
I know.
I'm even considering something absolutely wild, like moving intentionally in the Eastern Desert.
All right,
Why?
so-
Because then if Conan moves into it, it's
It's
not
true.
going to be easy to get out of it.
So Eastern Desert has, first of all, it has no special ability. It does have a warrior attribute, but it has this little thing, which means that if you want to leave Eastern Desert, you have to spend 2 movement dice as one action. And Hyperborea has the same thing. So they're just really big wastelands with not a lot of infrastructure. So that's what's going on there. So, all right, what's it going to be, Tothaman?
First of all, I think I'm going to roll the military die while I'm in a non-Eldritch Kingdom.
All right.
You never know.
He's eating up the whole supply here.
Next up, I think I will be. Ooh. No, I think I'm just going to move. Yeah, why not?
So you're using a character deployed to do a
Deploying
move
it to
action.
move. Yup. Oh, let's go to Koth to snatch up the other thief.
All right. All right. Conan is going to use my action to fight the Temple of Set. So I need to get 2 successes to do this. There's no penalty if I don't do it. And I'll get 2 victory points if I do destroy it. So it's my way. So I have to form a warrior pool. And I'm going to choose 2 of my dice here. So, all right. I got to get 2 hits, but it's like a fight or a duel. If either of these dice rolls at least 1 warrior, then I'll get 1 hit, and we'll track that, and I'll get to re-roll those dice. So every success begets a potential another success. So let's see how I can do. I could get it with 1 die, so that would be ideal. It would be great if they both rolled doubles. I would be so happy. Oh,
Nothing.
yeah, nothing. So these are spent. So that was my action. It was a big nothing. Now, of course, Janissa can fight this thing as well for 2 points. So
yeah, you'd like
I'm
that.
not so,
yeah, but
I'm not so
it's
sure.
Tathamon's turn. Actually, no, I guess Janissa, you were supposed to go.
Janissa.
So do your action, and then
No,
it'll be
I'm
Tathamon's
first.
turn. Yeah.
I'm first.
Yeah, but
Right.
I jumped the gun, and you moved, then I
see,
took
yeah.
my turn. So
All right. Well, I'll
Yeah.
deploy a character to Kingdom, and I will do the Stygia ability, and I'll grab myself a sorcery fate.
Yeah,
That
I have all of them.
does-
Yeah.
Darn
Apologies.
you.
I was dabbling in sorcery. I got a little carried away.
it's on brand.
All right. And let me.
You could get a challenge token.
You could, yeah.
You know,
Maybe
what's
not a
funny
temple set for me.
is I know what to do. Okay,
I'm going to move the challenge
I'm
token
gonna
into me.
deploy to. Yeah, I'm gonna deploy to thief, and I'm gonna steal a gold.
Alright.
All right. Now it's back to Tathamon because I did my failed fight. This temple, it's got a basement and balconies. It's gonna take some work to shut it down.
You roll on the way in, so you know.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate this.
It's great. It's perfect. Why? I think I'm going. So considering he decided to get a gold, I know he's going to scry this and move into it if it's bad. Which I don't hate, but still. I'm fine with most of the bad effects, to be honest. I do want to get to a kingdom with some thief, though. So I think I'm just going to move again. Ooh, am I though?
Why wouldn't you just go
Yes.
back to Shem? You get 2 points, you being Thief Kingdom.
Yeah, but then he's close by.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, actually, I cannot get there. So I'm actually not going to move yet. I'm going to put this, this die up here.
Messing with you.
All right, Janissa. Oh yeah, you get to
and-
cycle. So cycling.
I do get to cycle
So yeah,
some
we got a lot
things.
of kingdoms that this time it's unlikely that all 3 of them will apply to wherever kingdom is. So you've got thief attribute, warrior attribute. Certainly, the guardian king is harder to defeat. For Conan,
Yeah, but you're
at
not
least.
getting to Aquilonia as likely. Let's do this just because it's
Yeah.
more likely it will happen.
That would apply to Zingara if that's where we go.
Yeah.
All right, it's my go. Well, I'm gonna do this, and if I'm gonna be fighting, I at least have got 2 successes. So cutthroats will be much easier to beat if we do fight them.
All right. Now I'm gonna deploy to. Wait, did you take? You took your turn early again.
Oh, sorry.
It did, yeah.
Well, you know
No
what
worries.
know what I'm doing.
Okay, I'm gonna deploy to Scry, and I'm gonna
Yep.
take a look at this. Ooh, got so many billions though.
And now
So it's-
the ally can't share with Conan what he found. I mean, if there's like this is not, but if it were team play, you could. But
He can say whatever he wants. Doesn't matter.
There's no rule against table talk there.
No.
He doesn't have to be truthful.
Yeah,
He
also,
can
he doesn't have
say-
to. He can be like, oh yeah, that's a
gold.
four
Go
warrior
for it.
fight.
Gold.
You don't want to go there.
That's 17 points right there. Yeah.
Well, I could move, but I don't think I'm going to. So sit tight.
All right, I took my action. So back to Tothamon.
Hmm. I'm going to do some good old sorcery. The good old ways.
That was coming.
Oh,
That's why I like to play foe. Skulls on the map.
All right, start thinking about what you're doing, Janissa, because I'm ready.
Oh,
Yes, with the sorcery action, Tothamon gets another challenge token added to his pool, and then picks one that he's going to place on the board. Those can only be placed in kingdoms that don't already have a face down challenge token, and they cannot be placed in a kingdom with a character. So
But it could be placed like where the
yeah, you can put it in. This is a face up one, so you could put it in Shem.
mhm.
really hem you in.
Yeah,
Of course, you're in a port kingdom, so you could sail around it all.
we could sail around a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna
oh, jeez.
All
right with that adventure, that handy adventure.
Janissa. Well, Janissa, you could scry and move it. Force Tothamon to move it back.
Come on, it's Conan's birthday.
Of course,
You
you
know?
can
Yeah.
move into
So
it. Oh,
the foe and the ally can move challenge tokens with the move action, but Conan cannot. Conan, however, is the only one who could move a fate token that's on the board. Currently, though, the foe has eaten them all up. He's got them in his
Mhm.
cellar,
Corner of the
in
market.
his caravan.
all right. Well, first thing I'm definitely going to do is. This is rough. Like this at all. I am going to use.
Fight that temple. Use your two warriors.
I can't do. Hey, I'll use this trade fate to do the trade out.
Okay, you gotta put that on a die though. So remember, you don't
Yeah,
just spend the
we'll use this
tokens.
one.
So you're changing that into a trade, in order to trade your move for a
Let's get
Pirate.
a pirate.
Yeah.
pirate. All right, yeah, planning ahead, planning
Sail
to take us
around.
to Zingara.
Yep.
All right, it is now Conan's go. So
Makara doesn't
yeah.
work. Yeah.
yeah, all right, I'm just gonna fight this thing again. I don't know, not a whole
Wow,
lot. else I can
Oh,
do.
using all your dice, huh?
Yeah, I'm using
Darn.
all my dice. All right, so I got to get 2 hits. Give me some hits. I got 1 hit. All right.
One.
So
One hit.
my
So you-
thief gets spent. That's 1 hit. If I can roll 1 more with this die, then not only will I succeed in destroying the Temple of Set, but because it's a hit, it will still be an active die for me. So if it give me the double, all right, yay!
Got it.
It's 2 hits.
Hey.
So
So
and
2
the
points. for
token
you.
token is gone. I do get 2 points, which means I get to roll the Eldritch die, so I'm up to 8. See, I'm catching up to you, Tothamon. You see? You see it?
I mean,
You see it happening?
no, not yet. You're too
You're
far
not
away.
even-
from
Oh,
it.
no
Oh,
sorcery.
action.
What a
No.
bunch of hoo-ha.
You're still in the attic.
Yeah, so I still have an active die. So it's back to Tothamon.
Hmm.
Well,
You gonna go for the encounters?
perhaps. I think I'm going to do some sorcery. Am I?
What would Tothamon do?
Yeah, what would Tothamon do?
Probably sorcery.
Probably sorcery. That's also
Something
pretty
evil. The guy is just
Ooh,
no
we've been
good.
a while out there.
He's
cool.
he's
Some pretty
bad.
Sorry.
bad to the
fix that.
bone. He's a bad seed. All right, what are we looking at here?
I think I will do
What?
some sorcery. Yeah.
He's the worst seed.
All right,
Oh.
trying to get some options, huh?
He's looking at all 3 at once.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to really
I
know
wanna keep all
what's
the nasties
coming.
at the same time.
Remind me of the order of operations in case I place it here. Do you reveal it first and then deal with whatever Temple said bad things do to you? As in, lose the fate token in this case? Or is it you lose first and then reveal it?
I can choose my my horrible effects in either order. So
Good to know.
yeah, but well, see, if so, let's say for instance you are there. If I move into a kingdom with a rival, I'm initiating a duel, and one of the things you get for initiating a duel is a local fate token. So I would get that right away, but then I would lose it because of this. So it's going to be the worst, whatever the worst outcome is. That's how that plays out. So I don't get to go, oh, I'm losing a fate token. I don't have one. Now I get one. No.
I think this is...
Which one of those horrible things are you placing? So fortunately, there's not a ton of Temples of Set, but there's enough that it's...
There's a lot of fights.
Be a
There's a lot
problem.
of fights, let me tell you.
Yeah, there's a
Just
lot of
need to
fights.
decide how many points they want to give you when you defeat it. That's the thing.
That's true.
I think I'm just going to put this. Oh wait, not this one over here.
Yeesh. All right. It is to you, Janissa.
You still have to get to an adventure kingdom as I advance in the plot.
You know, I think
I'm not
Bitcoin
going.
probably-
So if you don't take us there, we're not going. You know, won't get any points.
No,
I love
Poe's
this
not even
game.
that high up on the plot, anyways.
Yeah, who cares about adventures, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna use this wild as a character, and I'm gonna on the plot.
So self-serving.
All right, that's 1 point.
well, Conan.
I'm wishing I was the other side of the Janissa card right now.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a scry token anyway, so...
Yeah.
All right, so Conan is going to steal a gold. But I'm going to spend it immediately to roll the Eldritch die. It's got a lot of sorcery on there, so I don't love my chances, but we'll see if I can get any kind of a fate. All right, 3 gold.
Ooh,
So
3 gold.
that's not
Pretty good.
terrible.
That's good. That's
Ooh,
a
now we
free,
get-
that's
we
a
get
die
5
for you
dice.
next round.
Yep.
Well,
All right, Tathaman, what's it going to be?
I'm going to move.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to move over here. Gaining a fate token,
Oh,
which will be a worker. And my 2 points for getting into a place with a Temple of Set, which also gets me a gold.
he has been working that.
So yeah, so this is a good time to point out, how is the end game triggered? Well, there are 3 ways. One is if anybody gets to the end of the plot track. So we are a ways off for that being the end game trigger. The second is if you get all 3 of your achievement tokens to King Conan. So Conan right now maybe has the best chance of doing that. But the other one, and the one that's most common, is victory points. So in a 4-player game, if somebody gets up to 34 points, that's going to trigger it. Here, if somebody gets to 38 points, it'll trigger it. Whichever trigger happens, you still play out the whole round, and then you do your final scoring. And Conan is going to get, well, both of the Conan and the Ally do have that 5-point bonus, but that's currently not enough. We really need to try to get some points from an adventure. This one in Zingara is not going to give a lot of points. It's 1 point per die. It is now to Janissa last action.
Pirate fate token. Is it happening?
Uh,
Are you sailing away?
I think for the purposes of demonstration, that maybe we
oh, you're
at
okay.
least do
all right,
another
all right.
adventure. And
Yeah. All right, I'll
So-
use my pirate fate token to sail us all the way to Zingara and walk face first into a whole lot of.
lose a
Lose a
fate.
fate.
All right, so
Oh,
it's
that's
a
not so
fate of your
horrible.
choice. So yeah, it's
I've got none to lose.
all right.
There you
So now
Can't
we
hurt
go.
me.
We're at the triggered phases. Did encounters get unlocked? They did not. We did not have enough
Nope.
dice up there, so we get our dice back. Conan is fully rested. He's going to have all of his dice. Trigger 2 is did we get to a kingdom with an adventure? And we did. We are at Zingara for the Island of No Return. And the island is actually not in Zingara. It's a little bit off there, but, This is how we get there. We take a boat from Zingara. All right. So once again, it's roll, but it's going to be the foe rolling first. And how many of your dice? And with you got some thieves, you got a lot of stuff here. Yeah.
And well, choose any sorcery of these four that you want.
Yeah, it's 1 point, so I am gonna. Well, I mean, what do you think? Janice, do you think you're gonna roll any sorceries?
He got my die that has 2 of them.
Yeah. All right. I am gonna use your wild. I'm gonna use your wild as a thief. So I'm pointing that at the thief.
Okay.
And we'll keep this in case your die gets used, just to keep track. All right, roll. All right.
Okay.
We do have a sorcery.
That's a sorcery, and I got a wild for you.
Don't worry, but
so that could be anything.
Question is, do I think that I can roll a thief and 2 warriors? So if I don't, what'll happen is it'll go over to here, and you've got the capability to get a thief. So I think the safe play, the conservative play here, is to use your thief as well. And so all we just need to do is get 2 warriors on 6 dice. Now, surely Conan can roll 2 warriors on 6 dice.
If you can't roll that, you have anger with the gods.
So the problem here is there's a twofold problem. If I don't get either of these, if I roll like zip, we're going to go over to here. He hasn't rolled any warriors, but he has a warrior fate token, and he has a mirror, which lets him turn a character into a warrior. So that is and he will get the card, and he will be the only one who gets points. So currently he's getting 1 point now, and Janissa's getting 2. I'm risking it, though. Fortune favors the bold. Conan is nothing if not bold, right? Conan the Bold. I think Conan the Bold might actually be a novel.
Oh, no, yes.
So
you got
too close.
I did. I only going to get 1 point, though, because it's per die. So even though it's 2 results, I'm only getting the 1. But it is enough to complete the adventure. So the foe gets 1 point.
Yeah, you were kind of close.
The ally gets 2 points. Score your 2 points. And then Conan gets 1 point. But I will get the benefit of this reward here for Zingara. So it's the end of the round phase. Our extra dice are going to go back. Yes, and
I'm not sure if you said this right. I'm just going to point out that it's the player who rolls the last die gets to hold on to the.
It's the player who places the last die. So
yeah, I mean, you locked it in by rolling the right one.
Yeah.
At the last time.
All right. So my reward here is I advance on Thief, which is not the track that I was too crazy about, but I'm getting a gold for it, so that's not terrible. I get to gain a challenge token, which is okay, and all right, that's interesting. And then I get to roll the port die. So maybe I'll get if I get a pirate fate token, I can use that. I didn't. I got a trade token. So, but any kind of fate token is good for Conan. So that's that. It is now spend your fate tokens to advance on a track if you're in the kingdom.
I have 1 warrior, so 1 time on the warrior track, which gives the military die a roll. 3 gold, and then I have 3 thief, so I use all of them to advance twice.
All right, that's a gold. So yeah, now the foe.
I had 1 pirate.
Foe's doing well.
I know.
Foe is doing pretty well.
Foe's killing it.
Way up ahead. So yeah, we got to get a better adventure. 3 points for the witch shall be born.
Well,
in.
Too bad.
That's right. We already have 2 in Quran, so that goes away. 2 points for Shem. Shem.
Oh,
look at that. So that might be. I don't know. If we march over there, not that we'll be able to catch up to him, but so I think we're gonna call it here at the end of 2 rounds. I mean, it's potentially early in the game because here's the thing: the foe only got 1 point there. So at this point, we're definitely going to endeavor to try to not use their dice as much as possible on the adventures. There are other ways, as you can see. He's got this Temple of Set, so if he moves in around, that's 2 points each time. And there are other ways to get points. Of course, moving up on these achievement tracks, He's 2 spaces away from 5-point bonus at the end of the game. So it's not all bad news for the foe. They still have ways to get points. They can still harass Conan on the encounter track and try to finish off encounters that Conan cannot complete. We'll take a little peek here. It was still going to be the foe going first as we did the round 3 with cult activity. Karaja would get a challenge token, and no sorcery because the Tothaman is holding out, so none will get added to the board. But that's how it would play through. Still, it's likely that this is going to get triggered by the points, but you never know, because again, if we're here, Zingara is a double attribute kingdom, so the fact that the ally and Conan are both starting here in the next round, if we roll some pirates and thieves, we could just work on our skills here before we even leave. We're next door to Aquilonia, which has a kingdom. It's 2 spaces away to Shem, and maybe if we do go to Shem, we destroy this other Temple of Set to take that away. I think that probably Aquilonia is the one kingdom that Janissa doesn't want to go to because it's only 1 point. But with the sorcery fate tokens, you can see how saving up these fate tokens is very good for the adventures, especially if Conan can get a hold of these. Then he's like, if I got 2 sorcery fate tokens, then I don't need to worry about using anybody's dice for those. I just concentrate on the warriors. And so these different there's different difficulty level with some of these. So these are easier. They only have 4. And you can curate it because there's little symbols on the bottoms of the cards for basically difficulty level or recommendations for player count. Although you can mix and match them. You can have them all in there if you want. And we're playing with a giant deck of adventures. There's a lot of different encounters, and they trigger on different things. So if we're in a wealthy kingdom, one of the purple ones, which none of the adventures have, well, Quran does. So if we get there, we might have to face the Revenants if that's unlocked. And lots more goodies to be had on the plot track. So getting more dice means that you might be able to just spend them to deploy. Not deploy, but use your characters to just shoot up there. You can get points that way. And that might be another thing that the foe does with all those extra dice is just it only costs 2 dice to move up. In fact, he's back here. So 1 die to move up there for a point, 2 dice to move here for 2, 2 for another 2. So that might be enough to creep up there. And when somebody gets ahead like this, they want to find a way to trigger the end of the game before the other characters can get these bonus points for the end game. So I'm 2 spaces away from getting an 8-point bonus on the thief track, which is pretty good. 2 spaces away from a 5-point bonus on the warrior track. And warrior is really one of the easier ones often to advance on. One, because Conan rolls them a lot, and there's a lot of warrior kingdoms with that attribute. So that is how it is. So yeah, we're just going to, I'm going to let everybody kind of chime in with some last words of just about whatever it is they want to say about the game. GJ, we'll start with you. Anything you want to share with our viewers?
That do not take this game as an example of how imbalanced it is, because did this happen only because I worked really hard to make sure that they were forced to use my dice? And then I had the perfect timing of Zath and everything aligned. And that's kind of the beauty of this game, that you have so many ways to get whatever you want, whatever you need. You're never out of options.
Yeah,
and
we go ahead.
Even in the turns, like we said together with Jaded, like, what the hell do we do now? What do we use that die for? It's just because we have so many things we could do, and finding the optimal route or solution is really where the game really shines.
Yeah, we played this game yesterday, and at this point in the game, we all had 11 points. I mean, it was all 3 of us were right there, and we actually played it a couple of times. So the previous one, it was a little bit spread out, but I don't think any of us was past like 17. We were like between like 10 and 17, so it was pretty close. But yeah, if Conan were well ahead at this point, you would see the ally and the foe working together. They'd be working the encounter track because they both get to go before Conan in that main phase. So they can block out the warriors so that Conan can't really get any advantage there. And then between them, they're only 1 die from unlocking the encounters, which either one of them can probably do. After that, before Conan can get anything useful up there, And then, the Janissa had the Asura token, which would let him just cycle any one of these. So you can really brutalize Conan. So again, he's down, potentially wounded. You would get the rewards too if you complete the adventure or the encounter. And then he's got fewer dice of his own to do the adventure. So if he wants to card, then he's got to give points away, which is really, that's a tough choice for Conan to make, especially if the ally has maneuvered him into a kingdom where it's 3 points per die. So, and that's the spread. It's 1, 2, or 3 points on these adventures here. Jaded, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I really enjoy that in this game, all the action and all the plotting and whatnot is all very centered around Conan. I mean, all the that you're making and all the decisions you're making, it's all about what Conan is able to do and what he's not able to do. So even if you're not Conan in a game with Conan on it, you still feel like you're involved and you don't really have to be familiar with all the characters to really feel like you're doing something important. You're always able to directly affect Conan, and there's a lot of player interaction.
Yeah, and there's a pretty good variety too between there's a number of different foes and a number of different allies, and again they've got 2 different abilities on each card, and that's going to change up the gameplay in a big way a lot of the time. And all the characters, I'll point out, are drawn from the Dark Horse line of comic books, as well as the adventures, the artwork, of course, everything from their many different Conan titles. It's over 200 issues of Dark Horse comic books that we drew upon to create the game and to craft what the adventures would be like and how the gameplay would unfold. And so I really enjoy that. I was always a big fan of the comic books, and so I like that it has a little bit of a comic book aesthetic to it as well. And Greg, anything from you? Our Eye in the Sky.
The foe always jumps out. I mean, they always get a default early extra die that Conan can never get. But with Janissa's particular power in this game, she also got to steal one of the foes. But look how much more, look how the foe really leveraged that to get such an early lead. And I mean, it has to be, a lot of that it's got to be related to just having that extra die, but he really managed to work it to his advantage. So now the ally and Conan, you've kind of been forced into a real alliance. I mean, because you're going to have to work together to catch him. Basically, he's so far ahead. And
yeah,
compared to yesterday's game, it was all about the achievement track. Now it's all about the victory points.
Yeah,
that's what's going to drive it.
It can be a very shifting dynamic as the game goes on, and it plays out. And certainly, what you roll is always going to be a big factor. So you can have turns where you just are like, I can't really capitalize as much as I want, even though I've got extra dice. But there are some mitigators, so the fate tokens can be a big factor in that. The god tokens as well, and there are other god tokens that we didn't have in play with different effects. So those can matter. So I wanted to build in a thing so that you're not always completely reliant on the luck of the roll, but you can plan around. And the fact that each symbol gives you, in most cases, a couple of different things that you can do, or there's a couple of different ways to achieve something. If you're like, I need to move, you've got the move result, you've got the wild that can be a move, you've got the character that can deploy to the move, plus you have the scry, which after you scry, you can spend a gold to move. So there are multiple ways to be able to do what you need to do. And so I know that some people at the first time they play it, they're like, I'm a little overwhelmed by all the different things that can happen in there. But I say just take a step back and just ask yourself, what is it that you want to do? And there may be a way for you to be able to do that. And there are some little strategy tips here for each character in the player aid, so it's different for each one. It kind of gives you some tips on what should I focus on in the different phases, what are some good tactics to use. But, finding ways to get fate tokens, to get gold, that's universal. You know that Conan's going to try to get to one of these 3 kingdoms, and so you're looking at your results. What are the ways that I can stop Conan if I'm the foe? Well, it's challenge tokens, and the encounter track are the big one. But you saw that GJ was able to capitalize on the fact that he had the 2 different temples of Set. There were other fate tokens around. I had the turn where I rolled all the warriors that could be in the pool, so you knew that was a good excuse to get out of Dodge, so that I couldn't capitalize on that because if it's a fight, I can keep rolling those warriors even after I've won the fight, the duel rather. I can keep rolling because you score points based on the difference of your successes. So if you'd only had like 2 successes and I rolled 6, but then I was able to keep rolling those, I could capitalize on that. So that's a great way for Conan to get points. Really anybody. And you had Emir and you did have the warrior fate token. So you had some factors that could have helped you in the duel. We had a game that I like to talk about where Greg was playing with one of the other playtesters, and Greg was Conan. He only had 1 die at a certain point, and the foe had 5 dice and got into a duel with Conan. And Conan won that duel. He was able to just keep rolling warrior successes. So there's no guarantees. It's not completely hopeless for one character or another, but I enjoy that dynamic as well. So that's enough. Hopefully people have a good sense of what the gameplay is like in Conan, or the possibilities there. If you've got questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them. And that's really that's it for this one. So I want to thank Jaded and GJ and Greg, of course, for participating in this playthrough. I would be happy to keep playing, but I'm not sure that we need a 2 or 3 hour long. It probably wouldn't be 3 hours, but it could be a 2 hour. We probably have like probably 2 more rounds at least, maybe another one if we can turn the tide a little bit. But we're going to be triggering an end game here in the next couple of rounds, I think. So I think this is probably enough for people to get a sense of the gameplay.
I think the foe's got to beat on this one. I think foe's looking real strong.
I don't know.
I'm putting 20 on the foe. 20 gold.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching this playthrough, and we hope that you will give Adventures of Conan a day in court, and let us know what you think of the game. That's it for this one. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.